Here's my advice to the coaches who are trying to build a girls wrestling team at this time. I know in Missouri and Kansas they have girls wrestling. It's sanctioned by the state now, so there will be a girls versus girls state championships this year. Back in the late 90s, we did this in Texas when I was there. I went from one girl on my team to over 40. We ended the season with well over 20, and in fact, we're the girls state champs for the first time for the first state championship. So I have some history here going back, over 2 decades ago. And this is what I found. The number one question is that the parents of the girls and the girls themselves are going to wonder, do I have to wrestle boys? So my I guess rule was this, and I laid this out in all of the flyers and info that we set out and passed out to the girls. The announcements on the intercom at the school, we did morning announcements, and it was all, I laid everything out. That way there's no questions. If there's ever a question, they're gonna hit the no button and say, well, I don't know, right? Because that's just human nature to try to kind of avoid any clutter. So be very upfront, and my rule was this. This was our superintendent's rule, actually, which was real common sense. If the girls want to wrestle the boys in practice, fine. If the girls don't want to, fine. If a boy wants to wrestle with the, compete and train with the girls, fine. If the boys don't, fine. It's up to the individuals and also their parents, obviously, and that way there's no hassle. Because what's going to happen is, I have a nice population of Muslim wrestlers right now in our academy. They won't wrestle the girls. We had one of them forfeit the, I believe it was not last year, year before last, the district semis because he had to wrestle a girl, which was actually one of our girls, actually. It's their religion. So, and the Asian kids back when I was a coach in Texas, they would not wrestle girls. Their parents said, no, coach, my mom and dad won't allow me to. And so, sometimes it's a cultural thing, and sometimes it's just the girls. They don't want to get beat up by a boy. These girls are all first-year wrestlers. They're high school. Who are they going to compete against in practice? Kids with 10 years of experience, right? That doesn't sound like fun to me either. So give them the option, but also lay this out detailed in the advertising, and you might even put some YouTube links and so forth like Helen Maroulis winning the Olympics and stuff like this, so they realize it's like a legitimate sport and it's not some kind of a new thing. I think that will go a long way as well, because remember, these parents, they're not wrestling parents. They've never heard of wrestling. Some of them still think wrestling is what they do on TV, right? So if you are very organized and you mostly attack that question, then they're going to hit the, the yes button. At least the ones who are on the fence will now, they're more likely to hit the yes and join your program, because the number one concern has been addressed. So don't leave a lot of questions out there lingering, because I think you're going to have a hard time recruiting girls. So there's my advice. Good luck to everyone, and we're looking forward to seeing the girls wrestling explode in Missouri. I have about 12 in my academy now. We have for a few years, so it's pretty exciting.